Hi everyone, this is Bebe, Cigara, Sister, and we are live and headed to Scape Swamp here in Lee County, South Carolina. And I am lit. This is the Arturo Fuente Florfina 858 in the wrapper of Candela. So since we're going to the swamp and talking about all things Lizardman, and this is July 1st. TAHDAH Squad Stars and Starros. This is the first anniversary done for the second official YouTube channel. And make sure you visit the first official YouTube channel, Cigara STARROS, where 1 year has been celebrated for Cinco de Mayo weekend. And it's just all love. So I thank you all for the love and welcome to all new subscribers. Okay, got copyright free music here. Music descriptions will be left in the box below. And this has been cut, lit, and smoked, and it's beautiful. Very herby. Absolutely delicious. Always a pleasure to smoke Arturo Fuente. Now, we're going to be going into the rural part of Lee County. So if it gets a little choppy, apologies. And right now I'm gonna just talk a little bit. In 1988, my friend and classmate, bring this down a little bit, my friend and classmate Christopher Davis, and we just called him Chris, he was one of the first to see the sighting of the infamous and famous Lizardman. Whether you believe that or not, I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm just talking about the life that I lived. Okay, my mother's family, the maternal side, is from Lee County, South Carolina, and it was the summer of '88. Teenagers going into our last year, or right before the last year of going to college. You know, everybody's doing their thing and just being teenagers, you know, just hanging out, working, and everything. Chris passed away in 2009. He came from a absolute upstanding fine family, just like a lot of us. You know, everybody's perfectly imperfect or whatever, but still, you know, nothing bad to be said about the family. And Chris was just very quiet, you know, at school. Of course, he had his friends or whatever, but he wasn't like loud or obnoxious or anything like that. He was very handsome, you know, chicks was digging him, you know what I'm saying, you know, and everybody was just real chilled, you know, like after football. In '89, and you know, we just all had a really good cohesive time. We was a really nice class, okay? And at the time, you know, I was a cheerleader on the band and stuff like that, and so, you know, everybody had their jobs and stuff like that. And I was working at the time. I was working like Kentucky Fried Chicken, not KFC, but the real deal. So if you're old enough, that chicken now and that chicken back in the day is totally different. So shout out to all of us who lived, who got that good old crispy, woo, Kentucky Fried Chicken, not the KFC. And no shade to KFC, but there is a big difference. And then also, you know, from there, I worked at Hardee's, you know, as a teenager, making money and everything like that. So everybody was, you know, working at the fast food restaurants or whatever, or at the mall, and you know, everybody was doing their thing. It was a hot summer, you know, 30 years is June 29th, 2018. And it's just hard to believe that it was 30 years ago, you know, because like I said, I'm such a unicorn. So, you know, the Lizardman has been sensationalized and all of that. And of course, when you have those kind of sensationalism type things, you have this and you have that and you have this. But I remember when it happened, you know, Chris' mother was like a dietitian at my mom's school. And I'm not going to mention the name of the school, you know, but my mom is a retired educator and dietitian, right? Yeah. My mom is off camera, so she's not going to be talking about this, but she's just going to ride along with me because after that, we're going to go eat. But, you know, the things that she told, and I'm not going to get into those details, you know, that was a concerned parent. Her child Chris, was clearly frightened when he got home, and that was that. Word started circulating. So many scientists and everybody, news reporters, everybody, everywhere. Bishopville, Lee County, South Carolina was on the map. Okay? I mean, people were coming from everywhere. Scientists, were coming from everywhere. And so, they would camp out or stay at hotels, stay in the next town or hotel. I mean, this thing made national news, not just local or just America. It made national news. Our cousins were calling from New York and Philadelphia. My dad, because my father's side of the family is from Tampa, Florida. Everybody was calling from everywhere, like, what is going on in Lee County? Lizardman. I mean, it made every bit of every news. And so, like, when the scientists would come in and they would eat, they would go to different eateries. So, with me working at the different fast food restaurants and stuff like that, we would ask, where are you coming from? And they would be like, I'm coming from, when I was on my shift, some scientists and news reporters, they came all the way from the UK. There were scientists that came from California. Canada, I remember that. And then I remember this news channel from Charleston. Shout out to Checktown. Delicious. I was about to end my shift and they came in to get something to eat, and then he put the microphone right in my face and he was like, what do you think about the Lizardman? Let me put some music on. Teenager. I ducked behind that counter so quick. I did not want to be interviewed because it was the wildest thing, and nobody really wanted to talk about that. Like teenagers, because I don't know, that kills your cool factor, So that's why I go back to say, whatever Chris saw, and being a brown handsome boy and brown kids, we just wasn't with that whole, let me do this far-fetched story. Of all the stories that you would do a far-fetched on, why that? It kills your cool factor as teenagers with the girls or with the guy. Like, nada, you wouldn't do that. That's crazy. So that's why when that reporter shoved that mic in my face, he was like, what do you think about the Lizardman? I was like, But then as they just kept staying, then I would talk to reporters. But those first few times, it was like, So, by this time, Chris was being interviewed and everything. And, the buzzword, everybody was like calling each other. It wasn't the time where you was like on a cell phone. It wasn't that time in 88 like that. So he was like, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Chris? I'm like, oh, what happened to Chris? And then like his buddies and everything, all of us was like tight and knit, even though everybody had their own circle of friends and the crew and stuff like that. So all summer it was crazy. Now, it went from the actual account, then other people had different accounts. Another family friend, they had an account where it ripped their cars, and these were people of color. They don't really sensationalize them a lot, but then I will keep going with this as time goes on and try and get that interview with the other family of brown hues, okay, that didn't get much love in the press, but they had footprints in their yard, and these were very spiritual, upright people, and people who just went to work, did their thing, go to church, do their thing, work and do their thing, and they had no reason to be lying about those footprints. Scientists dived to their home, pictures were taken, measurements was taken. I know other people had their cars and footprint casts taken, but like these were people that we knew and stuff like that. So then it went from that to then it got real sensationalized. People were like, okay, well, this is how we can capitalize off some money. Let's say it was this, let's say it was that. And then by the time the end of July came, people was like, oh, I saw Lizardman on I-20 with a car in his mouth. It got real. Yeah, it got like that, like, okay. But that wasn't none of us, and that wasn't Chris, and that wasn't none of us that did that. That was the powers that be that, you know, wanted to sensationalize off of it, okay? So by the end of the summer came, we all got back to school, of course, you know, football season, and I'll never forget. You know, here was Chris coming into school and all eyes on you. That's just how it was. But I'll never forget, after that first football game, either the first or the second, the hangout spot was Hardee's. We all went to Hardee's, everybody over in the dark part of the parking lot and chilling, not like dark because I got the lights, but you know, just over in the corner or whatever. And we was like, get Chris. We gonna talk about this whole Lizardman thing. And this was teenagers, just teenagers, no parents, no sound bites, no nothing, nobody coaching anybody to do anything. This was just straight up friends and teenagers. So everybody was like, okay, Chris, what happened, man? What happened? And I mean, he was just like, left work, pulled to the side of the road, getting a flat tire. You know, he had some food in the car, had the door open because the light shined to help him get that tire on, and then he heard a noise. Okay, like he heard some noise, and he had just finished up through that thing, the tire stuff in the car, and when he got in the car, the lizard man was upon him, and he was like, he sped off. So it jumped on the car, and he was zigzagging to try and get it off the car. He said this thing stood like 7-9 feet. He did not say that it was green. So that's a key thing right there. He said it was brown scales. And I heard this, I was right there listening to Chris talk. He said brown scales and red eyes. He said nothing about green. So that's where that sensationalism come in at. And he was like, he was up to like 20, 30, 40 miles per hour, and this thing was running beside him on the road. He was scared. I'm sure Chris was scared shitless. I'm very sure about that, because who else wouldn't be? Okay. And then like you get these other people who talk about it later on, and it's just disparaging when they talk about all this here. Oh, he could have been high on drugs. I can't place if he was high on drugs or not, but what I can say, that real conversation with all of us as teenagers sitting there chopping it up and nobody around, nothing to gain from it, and just other details that I would not ever share that he talked about, something that will lose all kind of cool points for a teenage guy with girls and with your boys. Nah, he was not lying, because you're not going to say that kind of stuff that I'm not going to share that part and lose your cool points. You know, we're talking about teenagers. And then again, like, why would brown kids of color? We're going to be talking about a story. We're not going to talk about some lizard man close to like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, those kind of things, you know. So he described what he saw, and every one of us believed him. We gave Chris a hug. We was like, man, dang, sorry to happen, glad you're alive, man. I mean, everybody was just like on the real glad that it was nothing worse. And that was just an unbelievable moment. So then, like, if you have friends that stayed out that way, because that's a dark road at night. Like, we stayed in the city limits. And like I said before, the people, like Chris and them, they stayed out in the rural. So it was nothing for him to be used to the rural and not a lot of lights around him. But that didn't scare him. It was what jumped out of the forest. Okay? That's it. So that whole summer too, before we even talked to Chris, you had to go visit friends. Sometimes we would take an alternate route, but it was crazy. Even adults, when you went through that little section, which we're about to go into, Like you was on high speed. Like if something came out of there, somebody was gonna get hurt because nobody was going slow through there, and it was just terrifying. All right, so I'm gonna turn this around real quick and show you where we're headed to. This is called Browntown area that we're going into. And luckily some of those storms passed, but it's a beautiful section of any rural town and places like that. And this is the route that Chris took on his way home when he encountered the Lizardman. And also, just to let you know, let me back up a little bit and let me show you, because I think you can see that. This is called Browntown Road. And I'm gonna see, okay, you see it? That way I can give these full accounts for you people. You see that green sign that says Browntown Road, and that's the section that we're going to. All right, so I'm backing it up. This is so cool, and I swear, never in a million years did I think I would be doing this. That's for real. But now that I'm in media and I live this, it's good to tell your side and tell things your way. All right, so this is the road heading into Browntown. And it's a long stretch of road. We haven't even gotten near to where Scape is, but just wanted to do this as like a documentary vibe to show you what's what. Oh. So through the day and even through the night now, it's heavily traveled even at night. I think a lot of people kind of got over it as the years has gone on, but then like around the anniversary, a lot of people maybe get a little leery or whatever, but like these young kids, they don't care nothing about that or whatever. So we're headed to the swamp, and I hope this live stream stays straight all the way there. And it's a very curvy road at night, so can you imagine, like late at night, Chris was trying to hightail it to get on home and relax. He was very used to this road, and like I said, staying out in the beautiful countryside, he was used to all this. This was nothing out of the norm or crazy. For me, sometimes if I were to take this road back in the day as a teenager, going to see friends or something like that, we were all kind of traveling in groups. It would be a little nervous for us, just a little bit. Fun known fact, Congressman Clyburn, when I covered the president for the Democratic National Convention, President Obama, the media press, we were at the Black Fin in Charlotte, and we went over to say hello, and he was like, where are you all from? And then, when I said both places, Tampa, and then I said South Carolina, he's like, my mom is from Browntown. I was like, cool. I already knew that, but that was cool. All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera around because we're getting close. These are the few moments where Chris would encounter the Lizardman. I'm gonna turn it around. We're going up into the swamp area. Luckily, I don't have anyone behind me, so kind of slow it down. Now he pulled to the side of the road to change the tire. So he was in the thick of the swamp area. So we're coming into the thick part of the swamp area. So can you imagine, this is a beautiful sunny day. The sun is going down, but this was at night where he had to park. Okay, I got a clear road because somebody's behind me. All right, this right here is where everybody starts to speed through. And I'm going to go real slow because deers could be jumping or anything like that. But this right here, good people, this is the swamp area right here. This is dark. There are no lights, as you can see. None whatsoever. And I'm going to put my hazards on because a lot of people fly through here and I want people to kind of see me coming off that hill and all of that. This is the swamp area right here where all those scientist trucks and stuff were side, and they were coming toward the bridge here. This is the Scape Swamp Bridge, and all of this is the swamp. They're here. So all of this is the bridge. Very swamp, like, see, very lush through here. And this is the peak of the summer. Chris got out that car to change that tire. He wasn't even worried about the snakes. Now, he would have kept on around that way, but I'm going to veer off here to the fork. And then I'm going to turn, like, right here. And this is like the stop. So this is where, and that way I can look at both. Like, there's a car, so I can see something coming from one way, someone coming from the next way, and then here's a car coming around that little dip. So I can see perfectly on all sides. So this is the swamp area right here. And this is where the Lizardman Sighting was. Right in Lee County, South Carolina. And I took this little route on yesterday, and I was gonna get out and everything, but we saw a snake on the bridge there, and like, this is just not the deal. So I'm not gonna be getting out walking or anything like that today. But this is the height of snake season, and then we're right here in Lump. So this is the area and everything like that. So imagine, this is like going into the evening part. It's almost 7 o'clock at night, but you got all of this woods and pitch dark, and Chris is out here alone, and that thing comes and attack him, and then he gets up and gets in the car, and this thing is running beside Chris at like 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 miles per hour. And I'm not laughing at Chris, but thank God I got this V8 Escalade right here, and if anything pop out of there, I'm gonna vroom. We're gonna see how it does. We're gonna see how it does. But when he told us that, I mean, he was like, you know how guys talk, he was like, Bo, that thing was running beside us. Well, we got a 2-lane thing coming, so they'll just slow down here a little bit and then they'll go around. I did this so like whoever was coming that way, they could see. So see how they slowly came around, just so they could see, because they could have been whipping around that corner and then it would have been like whatever. So like, there's a car right there, so I made sure like everybody could see me coming from different ways or something like that. Cute car. Okay, so now, you know, this was the thing, and this is what was happening, and You know, you can see the lush of the trees and different things like that. I'm gonna open up my sunroof a little bit more because, you know, with the trees and the sun going down and west, you know, just different things. But I'm gonna cut this down a little bit because I'm not getting out this car and I don't have any trees above me. So cut the radio down. All the way down. We're gonna see if we can hear anything. I hear birds. Trees. The wind with the trees blowing. So you see how quiet it is? Now imagine after he took those tires and got that tire straight, that if it's this quiet and you could hear that crackling, I don't even hear the birds anymore. Okay, I hear a little bird. I hear a car coming. Mm-hmm. Let my window back up. Letting the air on because it's steaming outside. But I did that for ambiance, just to show you could hear the sounds of the swamp and the forest. You can hear a little branch here or there. You can hear the birds. And another thing too, if you could hear the normal sounds of that environment, and then sometimes if something is coming upon you or something like that and things get kind of quiet, you know, those could be signs too, you know, because I'm a hiker and you try to hear different things around you and stuff like that. Now here's something really interesting. I'm gonna turn it around before we roll out. This that little opening right through there, that's like a, that's not a footpath or a hike path or anything, but that's like a little opening type thing. It's just, you know, really real. So just wanted to show that and give you the beautiful tour of Browntown area. I love that though, Browntown. And I gotta get the origins on that. And I got some friends and people I know that stay out here, so I really want to get the origins of why they named it Browntown, because I don't know. But this area, this is it, the infamous and famous sightings of the lizard man. And I thought it would be cool to do the Candela by Toro Fuente. It's smoking really, really good. And I hope you enjoy this tour and everything like that. Definitely, again, want to say rest in peace to Chris. He passed away in 2009. And then this year, rest in peace to his beautiful mother. She passed away this year as well. So, one love to the Davis family, and, one love to everyone who encountered this, and, they were there and they got to speak with Chris, and his family and all of that. It's just one of those unforgettable moments. And then, when I went off to college, telling people where you're from, and they was like, oh, Lizardman County and everything. Be like, but you learn to appreciate it as you get older. I know that I have. You learn to appreciate that, because this is someone who survived something that made worldwide news and had scientists come and different people come because they believed, and that's why I say shout out to the people who are open-minded, free thinkers, and people who are not closed. And even though you might not believe that's what he saw, but these people were open enough to come and do their research and stuff like that. And I have no doubt, even to today, it's been 30 years and I'm a grown woman, like Beyonce says. I do believe that Chris saw what he saw, and I've seen some things that I couldn't explain. And sometimes, from that very incident, sometimes things that I've seen, and I'm not going to get into here, that'll be at another time. But I can see where you don't really want to say anything, because people, they look at you kind of strange and stuff like that. So that's what just makes it even more like, oh yeah, hell yeah, we believe what Chris saw and what he said, because brown kids of color, teenagers, we ain't trying to make up that kind of craziness, okay? All right, so anyway, I'm gonna move from this spot because it's something trying to jump up out the woods or whatever. We've been here too long. It's time to roll. Bye-bye, swamp. And we head out. We're going to get some salad, some dinner, and get out of this swamp. So I'm going to show you the path on out of here. Leads over to a bridge. You get a little bit more light clearing, and that's from the highway I-20. And it's just a beautiful stretch of land. I love the best of both worlds. I love the country, I love the city, and somewhere in between. So, man, I bet he was blazing right through this here to get across this bridge and to get home. So I thank you for rocking with me, everybody. This was so cool. And we're turning up that air, and we're just going to flow on. I'm glad the summer storms kind of left. And this Arturo Fuente Florafina 858 is just beautiful. In Candela has beautiful herbal woodsy notes. I taste that herbal right off the gate smoking this, and we're going into like the second third, leaving the first third of this cigar. And I can't wait to get some beautiful salad. I'm just craving some great salad, so that's where I'm headed. But thank you so much, everyone, for rocking with me. Thanks you too for a smooth live stream. And more good vibes to come. Put on my music and keep flowing. Glad to make it to the first anniversary for YouTube channel, Cigara Saint Sister Live. Make sure you check out TAHDAH Squad, Stars and STARROS, the first official YouTube channel, Cigara Saint Sister, and a lot of more celebratory sticks to come.